Hey, so like you're not gonna do this whole video from the floor? No, not this one. Oh, that's how you know it's serious. Let's go! It starts with an A and ends with anxiety. Off the charts levels of passion! That's just a nightmare! With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Leafs lose 5-1 to the Dallas Stars, and now you all know what context means. That game didn't really feel like a 5-1 loss. They got a decent amount of shots, they got a decent amount of chances. It was close late, and then the Stars busted it wide open. They had the empty netter, and then they got another one, and the kind of loss you don't really think twice about if you're like 10th in the league or 15th. Around 20th, you start groaning about it and you're upset. But when it is your third loss on a 3-game road trip, no one is interested in your moral victory. No one. Not a single person. Not the most optimistic person. Not the most faux optimistic person. I hate what the Leafs are doing. I really don't like it. It's just another example of dishonesty that I feel coming from this team. You know how we've talked about like the injuries and how they're being real secretive about what is going on with literally anybody, and they're not lying necessarily. Well, sometimes they're lying, but they're not lying necessarily. They're just not being honest. And the Leafs are very actively in the middle of their worst stretch of hockey in over a decade, and they're like, yeah, well, you know, we just got to build on it. And, you know, we just got to put one foot in front of the other. And we just got to... Now, on one hand, the players cannot react to every loss the way that we do. Us unwashed, us crazy fans, us fanatics. You like them to do it every once in a while, though. That might make you feel better. That might make you feel like you're not nuts. And sometimes you sit there and you react to a game and you feel a certain kind of way. And you're like, wait a sec. Am I nuts? And you look around, and maybe a few people feel the same way that you do, but most fans don't. Most fans are cool, and they go about their day, and you go, oh, all right, I really hated that one, but maybe that was okay. With the Leafs right now, it's just an entire fan base that feels like they're nuts. And Craig Simpson made a great point very early on in the broadcast tonight where he talked about, it was very funny. He talked about the Leafs being asked, the Leafs players being asked about their performances recently, and they said something along the lines of what I've been saying. Well, we haven't been good enough. We haven't been good enough, and we got to do this, and we got to do that, and we, all the way home. And his point was, if any of them, and the camera is on Austin Matthews, and it's slowly zooming in the entire time, the point is, if any of them, while the camera is zooming in, pointed a finger at themselves and was like, I need to be better. I need to do this. I need to do that. It was amazing camera work. It might land a little better, right? And all you have is a team that stinks. Like, their actions stink. And they don't even have the decency to gaslight you after they stink. And if they were to take the finger and point it at themselves, it would take the heat off of the coaching staff, because with every game and every loss, the heat gets turned up more and more and more, and it makes a coaching change, maybe a coaching staff change, the whole thing, it makes it more and more and more likely. And maybe that's what you want. It definitely seems like it's what the players want. Maybe that's what you want, is a coaching change. Whether or not a coaching change is the right thing for this team, we can argue about it until they're blue in the face. But based on the players' actions during the game and after the game, it sure seems like it's what they want. And this Toronto Maple Leafs team, what they did on this road trip is the very definition of quitting on a coach. They quit. I don't need to yell to get my point across on this one. I just got to show you this. Take a look at this. Here's some William Nylander stats. He had a decent game in this one. He had some shots. He had some good looks. His best looks missed the net, but again, context, every now and then you're going to have a game like that, but you can't have a game like that in the middle of this stretch. William Nylander, who makes $11.5 million, and for most of the first month of the season was like top 5, top 10 in scoring in the entire National Hockey League, has not scored a goal for 11 games. He hasn't scored a 5-on-5 goal in over a month. Austin Matthews has been taken a lot of criticism recently, and he deserves a lot of criticism. But to me, he has looked like, at very least, a passable NHL player, certainly not up to a captain's level, certainly not up to a $13.25 million standard, but a passable NHL player who, on occasion, gets a scoring chance, has a nice back check, makes a block, puts up a couple points. William Nylander, I have lost so much respect for over this past month. He has taken his ball and he has gone home. He has quit on this coach and he has quit on this team. Look, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with these numbers that I see next to me? He was a -3 tonight. He was a -2 the night before. He was a -2 the night before that. He had 2 assists and wasn't even in that very difficult to replicate Blackhawks come from behind win, where they were incredibly uninspired after all the Joe Bowen stuff, all the pregame stuff being spoken to by their general manager before the game. He was a -3 the game before that without a single shot on goal. 2 assists, even rating. December 8th versus the Lightning was the last time he was a plus. -1. And in that Pittsburgh game where they absolutely hammered the Penguins. There you go, +2. That was the last time he was a multi-plus. If you don't give a good gosh darn about plus minus, that's fine. He doesn't have a goal in 11 straight games. And to me, he doesn't look like a passable NHL player out there. He doesn't even look like a guy I want in the lineup. I had a clip from the podcast the other day where I said I would scratch William Nylander. And I don't usually make requests for, hey, put this clip out there, put that clip. Every now and then, but I usually don't. Very often when I see a clip go up on SDPN's Twitter page or Instagram, I'm surprised by what the clip is. I like being surprised by what it is as much as you do. Matthews is getting a lot of criticism, and it's deserved because he's a husk of his former self. And at the end of the day, he's the captain. I would scratch William Nylander for the next game. I would. He hates the puck. I think he hates it. I don't know if they got into an argument, he insulted his family or what. He hates the hockey puck. He hates it. Cannot stand the damn thing. I don't know what he's going through. I don't know if he's just very nakedly trying to get his coach fired, which is what I'm pretty sure it is, or if he's just not interested in the thing he's paid $11.5 million to do right now. I would not put him in the lineup for my pro hockey team's next pro hockey game. And they made the decision. Our team made the decision to put up that clip of me saying I would scratch William Nylander. And I thought to myself, oh boy, that's a pretty inflammatory little clip. And it has the potential to make me look pretty stupid. And I thought to myself, well, that wouldn't be the worst thing. Sometimes you look dumb and it's a funny bit and you go with the bit. I called Nick Robertson a defenseman. Did I cry and sulk about it? No, I drove to Peterborough and shot a video with the fella. If William Nylander scores a hat trick the following game after I say he should be scratched, wouldn't that be the funniest thing ever? And think of the possibilities. Never in a million years did I imagine he still wouldn't do anything. And this game was just such a microcosm of the Leafs that we've seen over and over and over again. They never play a full 60 minutes, but they rarely ever look bad for the full 60 minutes. Oh, they do it. They do it sometimes. But they rarely ever look bad for the full 60, and that's what makes you go, where did you go? The Leafs had a pretty good first period against the Dallas Stars. Jason Robertson scores late in the frame, and I thought it was nonsense. The officiating crew for tonight's game, particularly in the first period, and Dallas Stars fans, you can agree with me on this one because I know you were unhappy by the end of the game with the officiating. Jason Robertson got his gloves all up in Jake McCabe's face. It gave him an advantage on the play, and then he scored. And the criticism on the broadcast was Dennis Hildeby should have had that one. Well, number one, it's Jason Robertson, and he's been amazing this season. Two, it's an ill-gotten goal. I know you play to the whistle, but it's not one that should have ever happened. But okay, all right, you're down 1-0. It's Dallas. It's the second half of a back-to-back. You're on the road. All things considered, a lot of teams have found themselves in a worse rut than down 1-0 to Dallas this season. They're an unreal team. All right, let's keep it going. They have a decent start to the second period. Oh, it falls apart. Ilya Lyubushkin blasts it on. Are you telling me it's a Lyubushkin goal? Oh, Sam Steele tipped it. Thank goodness. We don't have to sit in the indignity of an Ilya Lyubushkin goal against. Leafs take a penalty. Okay, all right. It was garbage. And who flies down the ice and scores the Leafs' only goal of the game? And guess who flies down the ice and rips it in for your only goal of the game? The guy who might be the only Leaf on the team at the moment, Scott Laughton. Huge Selly. You're still in this game. 2 points in Dallas the second half of the back-to-back. Those are points almost no team in the league gets these days. Heck, if you're able to tie it and lose in overtime or the shootout or something, that is one more point than you can reasonably expect in Dallas today. And in less than 4 minutes, Simone Benoit doesn't even have a hand on Jamie Benn. Like, the Stars have been the problem of this team, but, like, Simone Benoit is legitimately having an awful, awful season. That's a guy who, when everyone's healthy, I would not have in the lineup. He's been reprehensibly bad. And if you're not there to move Jamie Benn, or at least try to in that situation, I'm not sure what you're dressed for. It's 3-1 Stars. Game's over. Your goalie has roughly given you an opportunity to win this game, but then 2 deflection goals go in because you're not doing a good enough job in front of your net. You even got bailed out by the coaching staff that you've quit on because an offside goal came back, and it was offside by an eyebrow. And the guy who got the goal called back, Maverick Bourque, ends up getting an empty netter, in which OEL doesn't even dive for the thing. And then the Stars make it 5-1 with 17 seconds left. Huge celebration like that was the game winner. You don't react. Nothing. The game's just over, and you lost again. And then more platitudes after the game about, well, it's the process. I want to show you some things and just take your questions, because I feel like that's where we're at now. Justin Bourne, fun Leaf Star stat I forgot to mention in the pregame show. Wyatt Johnston has more power play goals, 13, than the Leafs, 12, this season. Yeah, that's nuts. That's insane. Wyatt Johnston having 13 power play goals before Christmas is legitimately insane. That is crazy. However, you as a team, you should have more. You should have a lot more. And if the Leafs power play found a way to perform at like even a middle of the pack level for the rest of the season, they might still be within like spitting distance of the playoffs, but it is the most useless part of this team right now. And again, it's the Stars. All the Stars are underachieving. Nyes is officially part of that conversation with the new contract. Tavares, think of how important he was to the first half of the season so far and how absent he's been. He did score last game, but you understand. Nylander he's missing. He's gone. And Matthews hasn't been very good either. And they split the power play units up, and they just don't seem to have any clue what's going on. I wouldn't put Morgan Riley out on the first or the second unit for the rest of his career. The amount of shin pads barely dinged per 60 is making me depressed. Not angry, depressed. I was angry the first 500 times, and now I'm just depressed. At what point did this iteration of the Leafs go wrong? For my money, the hiring of Dubas over Hunter. The culture was irrevocably changed to what we have today. You're going way back, and I know I did that last video. Here's what it is. Like, yeah, significant change to the roster in the offseason, and we can make arguments about what was a mistake and what wasn't. Did Brad Treliving do enough with the extra cap space that the Leafs gained? Obviously, he hasn't. They won the division last year, eh? And, like, even with a step back, the step back that they've taken has been insane. I don't think Kyle Dubas has anything to do with the step back the Leafs have taken from last season, to this one. This is why the players deserve so much grief. And they deserve even more when the coach or the coaching staff, whatever it happens to be, inevitably get fired. Because what a lot of people have said to me is, what is that going to do? You know what? They're probably going to get a bump. All those guys I talked about, how shocking they've been, Matthews and Nylander, chief among them. Chief among them. That's ironic. They're going to get a bump, and they're going to get better. And the power play is going to score a few goals. It is. That's just how it works. It works that way so often. Teams get the new coach bump. It's very rare that what happens is the Peter Horacek thing, where you fire your head coach because you're underachieving, and then the new guy comes in and you never win again. Almost literally never win again. Usually what happens is you get the new coach bump. But will it be because the new coach, the head coach, maybe a power play coach, maybe a something else coach, will it be because those new coaches came in and they're brilliant visionaries? No, it'll be because you changed your diaper and you decided, the millionaires that you are, I'm going to give 100% tonight. That's what it is. Like, it's obviously a different version of it, but I think back to the first game of Sheldon Keefe's tenure in Toronto. Babcock had just been fired. The team very obviously hated playing for that guy. And then Sheldon Keefe came on board. And Travis Dermott was asked about Sheldon Keefe pregame, and it made sense. Travis Dermott was a Leaf who was also a Marley who played for Sheldon Keefe. And they basically said, what can we expect? And he goes, boys want to play for him. And the bump was insane. The early 2019, 2020 Leafs, they were unwatchable, they were horrible, and they lost a lot of hockey games. I believe the first 16 games under Sheldon Keefe, they went 12-4. Like, the bump was nuts! Now, did Sheldon Keefe come in and do anything revolutionary? No, I don't think so. Definitely not right away, other than go, hey, Tyson Barrie is an offensive defenseman and hasn't done anything. Why don't I, let him do offense at the other team? That was revolutionary at the time. The guy's mood changed. The mood of the team changed, and they showed up to work, and they felt like it. Under the old guy, they showed up to work, and they didn't feel like it. And the new guy came up on board, and they're like, I feel like it today. That is going to happen under the new guy. Odds are. And you're going to say, well, that's unfair to Chief, and yeah. Oh, well. Like, you're going to sit there and go, well, it's the players who should be held accountable. How? Okay, like I said, scratch William Nylander. That's a crazy idea that you probably don't do. And if you do it, you do it for one game. Right? Wait, do you trade him? Oh, full no move. Bad luck. Matthews? Full no move. No luck. Dude, David Kampf, before he ripped up his contract, had partial trade protection. Max Domi has it too. Who are you trading? And you might go, well, that's the inmates running the asylum. And, yeah. Yeah, that's how it works. The Oilers had a coach who had one of the craziest winning percentages in NHL history. And when they started the next season poorly, they fired him and hired Connor McDavid's junior coach. People forget how pathetic it looked when the Oilers, who were so good the season before they couldn't beat anyone. Anyone. People forget how pathetic it looked when they started the way they did and fired Jay Woodcroft and hired Connor McDavid's junior coach. And then they went to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. And it took Jay Woodcroft forever to get back in the league. It became obvious he wasn't going to get back in as a head coach, and now he's an assistant coach with the Anaheim Ducks. A lot of people have brought him up like, oh, maybe the Leafs will get him. Probably not. He's the assistant coach, currently, of a very good hockey team. Is Chris Knobloch a top 10 coach in the world? I don't know. He's been to back-to-back Cup finals, but I can tell you this. He was the right guy for the Oilers to hire. How could you deny it? Look! Is that fair to Jay Woodcroft? Oh, no, that's tremendously unfair to Jay Woodcroft. But McDavid's junior coach is doing a pretty good job. Oh, here's the next question. Genuinely, even if the coach is canned, what does it actually do? It feels like the team is cooked fundamentally. I think I answered most of it. Here's the thing. I hope, with every fiber of my being, a new coach fixes this team, right? Because forget William Nylander for a sec. I think he's just being a brat. I don't know. Maybe he's not. He's an enigmatic guy. He's difficult, but you put up with it because he's sick. We know he's going to get back to being awesome, right? With Austin Matthews, best case scenario, his coach is using him wrong, and that's part of the reason he's been not up to his normal standard. That's the good one. Bad scenario is he's just cooked. And he's one of the most important players in your franchise's history. And you have to see which one it is. That's it. How much alcohol will it take to erase the last 10 years of Maple Leafs failure? Less than you think. Yeah, no, I can't drink like that anymore. I don't drink like that anymore because I can't. Not like I don't have permission. I'm sure I'd be allowed. I'm a grown-up, but like, no, it hurts now. And I don't like it. Nope, I don't like it. And lastly, and this is just a silly one that allows me to talk about some, when do these games start to count as a workplace injury for you? So I am sweating my brain out right now. Like, just dripping down the back of my jersey. There are several bugs going around. I don't know which one of them I have, but I have had it for over 2 weeks. When I'm on medicine, I feel fine, other than I'm sweating my life out, and I have to drink so much water. When I'm not on medicine, like I have not done physical activity in 2 weeks. We recorded 10 podcasts this week, but that's not the same as physical activity, is it? I know the guys got illnesses. I don't know which ones they got. I pray it's not this one. Because, yeah, I can see how that would make being a professional athlete kind of difficult. My question is, do the Leafs have more of this bug that's going around? It's probably some version of COVID. Than everyone else? I doubt it. And also, like, I don't know, they're still in the lineup and they won't tell us what's wrong with them. So it's win the games or don't. That's what it is. I just want to be better in time for Christmas. That's all I want. So how are you feeling? What would you do? Let me know in the comments down below. For now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends. We'll see what happens Tuesday. Last game before Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. And all that.